Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. Good evening and welcome to my free online lesson. Okay, my name is Amir Safwan bin Ismail, a mechanical engineer in ACAD Systems Penang, and today we are going to explore parametric modeling and iLogic in Inventor Professional. Okay, so before we start our lesson, just a heads up, we will jump straight into assembly file, which we will skip the basic of modeling, uh, the basic of making parts individually uh, to save to save us more time, but I will show you the dimension of the part anyway, so you guys can refer to it later. Okay, so let's get started for our lesson. So parametric modeling is a type of sketching that uses parameters and equations to drive the geometry. Okay, so what we can do is we can rename the dimensions, change the parameters, and also add user parameters. Okay, in the first row over here, for length, originally the name is D0, which stands for dimension 0. Okay, uh, dimension 0. And then I changed the name to length. Okay, and then it has the value of 110. I can change the value from 110 to 90, and then I will get immediate result, as you can see in the picture on the right over here. Okay, for length, I change from 110 to 90 degrees. I will get automatic update. Okay, and then in the picture on the left, bottom left over here, D1, I changed the name to width, and it has the value of 125. Okay, so these are the parts that we are going to use. So these are the parts we are going to use later in our lesson. We have top, bottom, side, back, and also shelf. Okay, I made this as simple as possible so you guys can easily understand how we can work with parametric modeling and also iLogic. Okay, in parameters or in parametric modeling tools, or we can call it parameters, it has multi-value dimensions. Okay, the first step, later in our lesson, we will open a new assembly file and open the parameter tools. Okay, click on add numeric and then right click on equation to and click on multi-value. Okay, and then enter our values like this in this example and click on add. And now your multi-value are now selectable. Okay, so this is a list of user parameters that we will be using in our lesson. Okay, so mainly we will adjust the length, width, and height for our model. Okay, so the other part, which is back length, side height, and so on, is the additional part, or the part that is correspondingly changed if you made an adjustment to your overall length. Okay, so this is where iLogic came. Okay, iLogic takes the principle of parametric modeling further by automate the design processes using rules and logic. Okay, in this case, it is code or coding. Okay, so it uses VB format, which stand for Visual Basic Coding. Okay, instead of we manually adjusting the parameters or constraint, we can use rules, or we can create rules to control how the design behaves. Okay, so for our example, if I were to adjust the length, okay, what is the corresponding part that will also change? Okay, so in this example, I can write as if the length equals to 110, and then the back, bottom, and shelf length will be 100. Okay, if I have another value which is 210, I can write as else if the length is 210, and then my back, bottom, and shelf length will be 200. Okay, if I want to add another value, which is 310, I can repeat the same rules and just adjust the value. Okay, and then I will end the rule by typing and if. Okay, so that is one of the example for length adjustment. Okay, for height and width adjustment, it has its own corresponding part that will change. Okay, for height adjustment, the part that will change is side and back. Okay, my bottom and shelf height will not be changed because if I change, it will be weird, or it will adjust the width, or it will be thick in display. Okay, so that's why we only have side and back. Okay, so for width adjustment, the only part that will change is the shelf. Okay, moving on, we have shelf gap. For shelf gap, we have this total distance from the uh, bottom face over here to the top face over here. Okay, so we want to add our shelf in between the total distance. Okay, if I want to have one shelf and then I need to divide the total distance by 2. If I want to have 2 shelves, then I need to divide the total distance by 3. Okay, for this case, we will use the rule select case. Okay, for select case, we will start with our own user parameter, which is shelf quantity. Okay, so for case 1, which is stands for one quantity of shelf, okay, and then D20 equals to 1. D20 stands for the dimension that is responsible for the shelf quantity. Okay, do not need to be exactly D20. It can be different names, or you can add your own name. Okay, to start off, if the height is 137.5, then the shelf gap will be negative 62.5. Okay, we have negative sign over here because the direction I have is in the bottom of my model. Okay, if I want to flip the direction, I just put the negative symbol in front of the number. Okay, and then else if the height is 187.5, then my shelf gap will be this value. Then I want to add another height, and then my shelf gap will be this value or larger value. Okay, I end the rule with and if. Okay, moving on, we have form editor. For this, it creates user-friendly interfaces for automation rules. Okay, we can design the form with buttons, text boxes, and other controls. We can also interact with these forms by input data, making choices which will affect the behavior of our automation rule. Okay, so let's jump into Inventor Professional and start our lesson. Okay, as before, I have this each individual part that we will put into the assembly. Okay, I have the top part over here. You can find the parameter tools under Manage tab and parameter ribbon over here. Okay, or you can find the icon FX on the top over here. Okay, each of the part I already named the information that I want to extract into my assembly. Okay, I have length and width that originally named D0 and D1. Okay, I also have the equation which stands for the dimension of my model or my part over here. Okay, for example, I want to change the value to 80. I will get immediate update. Okay, immediate update button over here. Make sure you check it. Okay. Uh, if I want to make it larger, I can enter, for example, 150. Okay, I can get immediate result. Okay, so back to 110. And now I have uh, this assembly. Okay, I just put each of the parts into a new assembly file, and I also applied the constraint. Okay, I ground it this top part over here, and then for sides, I just duplicate the other part. Okay, so if I made a change in this one side over here, the other side will follow because they both are linked. Okay, I also apply constraint for back and bottom shelf over here. For shelf, I just apply make constraint on the side and back over here. Okay, and now it's only able to move up and down. Okay, we will manipulate the shelf gap over here by creating out a rule. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is add our own user parameter. So this is model parameters. It is here by default. If you want to add your own parameter, okay, you want to click on add numeric. Then mainly we want to adjust length. Enter width and also height. Okay, I will enter the name first and then I will adjust the value later. Okay, so for next we have, okay, in example I show you earlier, we have this list of parameters. Okay, so I will enter the name first and then I will adjust the value. Okay, so for the other parameters, which is side height, back height, and so on, it is the part that is correspondingly changed if you adjust the length, width, and height. Okay, so I'm just going to add the other parts over here: side height, back length, back height. And make sure your spelling is correct. Bottom length, shelf width, and shelf length. Shelf gap. We have two shelf gaps because I will get into that later. Okay. Shelf gap 2. And lastly, for shelf quantity, I want to use add text. Okay, not numeric, but text because I don't want any units behind. I don't want any units for our shelf quantity. So shelf QTY stands for quantity. Okay, and now for value, as I shown earlier, right click on the equation over here and make multi-value. Okay, for length, it is 110, 210, and also 310. Click on add, and then you want to remove the default value, which is 1.0 millimeter. Okay, just click on delete, click on OK, and now your the value just now can be selected like this. Okay, do the same step for width and height. For width, it is 125 and 150. Click on add, remove the default value, click OK. All right, for height, 137.5, 187.5, and also 237.5. Click add, remove default value, click OK. Now for the other parts over here, I can get the dimensions by head over to tools, measure, and now I can get the bottom length over here. Okay, for overall length, it is 110. Okay, for bottom length, we have 100. That is why we want to make a separate parameter for the bottom length. Okay, so that is one of the example of why we want to add separate parts. Okay, for this lesson, I already know what part is correspondingly changed if we adjust the length, width, and height. Okay, to save more time. Okay, side height 125, back length is 100, back height 125, bottom length is 100, shelf width we have 120, for shelf length is 100, for shelf gap we have negative 62.5. I will explain why it is negative again later. Okay, for shelf gap number 2 we have 40. For shelf quantity we want to make it multi-value. Okay, which is I want to have 2 shelves maximum. Okay, click add, click OK. Now we have all of our user parameters. Okay, click on done. And now we want to apply rule, which is we want to assign model parameter from each of the parts to our user parameter in assembly. Okay, to do that, click on iLogic on top over here, or you can click plus icon and it will have iLogic. Okay, from here, right click and click on add rule. This one, I want to name it as parameters. Parameters. So this is where we want to write our rules. Okay, first, click on drop down arrow over here. Head over to model parameter and we want to extract this part information into our rule. Okay, to do that, just simply right click and capture current state. Okay, for top part, I want to extract the length and width parameter. And then repeat the same step for these other parts. Okay, for this one, I want to capture length and height. For bottom, length and width. Okay, for side, user parameter, I want to extract width and height parameter. Okay, for second side over here, we do not need to extract because it is the same as the first one. Okay, if I change something in the first one, it will also change for the other side. Okay, for shelf, I want to extract length and width. Okay, now I want to change this value to the user parameter that we have just added just now. Okay, for top one, okay, top length, we can already see the top part over here is the same length as the overall length. So I just simply select this one, double click on length, and now it has aligned or it has assigned. Okay, for top width, it is assigned with width. For back length, okay, I assign with back length over here. Back height, I have back height over here. Bottom length, I have my user parameter bottom length over here. Bottom width, it is the same as the overall width. Okay, side width, it is the same as the overall width. Side height, I have my own side height over here. Okay, shelf length, I have user parameter shelf length. Sorry, shelf length. Here, shelf width, assign width, shelf width over here. Okay, and that is our rule for parameter. Next, what I want to add is user parameter. I want to add a new rule for dimension change. Okay, so here is where we want to adjust the length and the other part will change. Okay, so from here, apostrophe and length adjustment. Okay, so this will not affect your role. It just acts like a note. Okay, we will start with if. Okay, if my length. Okay, you can type in length and it will pop up over here, or you can click on user parameter and double click on length over here. Okay, equals to quote unquote 110. Then the other part that will correspondingly change is side length, press enter, back length, enter again, and also bottom length. Okay, back, bottom, and sorry, back, bottom, and shelf length. Okay, and then equals to 100. Okay, same goes to the bottom and shelf length. And just simply select Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. Okay, just paste the value 100 over here because it shares the same length. Okay, now I want to add a new length, which is else if my length equals to 210, then you can simply select this, Ctrl C, copy, Ctrl V to paste, and then just uh, adjust the value. Okay, for this value are 200. Again, select, copy, and then paste and adjust the value to, for length 310, for the other parts is 300. Okay, don't forget to write and if, okay, to end our rule. Okay, so this we have length adjustment. If I click save and run, now if I adjust the value for length, for example 210, we can see immediate result for our parts over here. Our overall length will change, also the corresponding parts will change. Yes, so we are going to repeat the same step for the width and also height. Okay, to edit our rule, just simply right click and edit rule, or you can double click. Okay, now for width adjustment. Okay, if my width equals to 125, and then corresponding part that will change is click on user parameters and click on shelf width. Okay, equals to 120, quote unquote 120. Okay, else if my width equals to 150, then you can just simply select Ctrl C, copy, okay, Ctrl V, and adjust the value. Okay, my shelf width will be 145. Okay, we only have two values of width, and then we are going to end the rules with and if. Okay, so moving on to height adjustment. Okay, if my height equals to 137.5, then the corresponding part, which is side and back height. Okay, then double click on side height, enter back height. Okay, my side height will be 125. Okay, my back height will be 120. Okay, else if my height equals to 187.5, then my side height and back height will be, select this and paste, copy and paste. Okay, this one will be 170, 175 for back height, 170. Okay, select, copy, press enter and paste. Adjust the value to 137.5 for side height will be 225, for back height will be 220. Okay, don't forget to write and if. Okay, if I click save and run and I check my adjustment for these 3 dimensions, okay, I will have the correct measurement. And now what we have left is the shelf gap. Okay, we can manipulate the shelf gap by doing by applying constraint and manipulate the value. Okay, to do this, we are going to apply constraint. Make sure you select flush. Okay, select this face over here and also this face over here. Okay, and then for offset, click on this arrow over here, click on list parameter and select our shelf gap. Okay, click apply. Now we can manipulate the distance from here. Okay, shelf gap, as you can see, it is negative 62.5. If I remove the negative sign, press enter, you can see the shelf is at the bottom of my model. Okay, if I want to flip the direction, I can just simply put the negative sign in front of my value, press enter, and then we will have the right distance. Another one is we are going to use pattern. Okay, click on pattern component, click on rectangular pattern over here. For component, select our shelf. Okay, for direction, select this axis over here. Okay, it can be any corner you want, but make sure you select the axis pointing upwards. Okay, for distance or column spacing, click on arrow over here, list parameter and select the shelf gap 2. Okay, so this shelf gap number 2 will control the gap for 2 shelves. Okay, so as you can see, these are the dimensions consumed by my shelf gaps. Okay, you can check over here. Also, my D34 is under shelf gap 2. D32 is under shelf gap. Okay, from here we want to create a new rule that will manipulate the gap distance. Okay, so for this one, shelf quantity. Hit enter, and then we are going to quickly write our rule for shelf quantity. Okay, for this one, we want to use select case. For this one, click on user parameter, and then choose shelf quantity. Okay, and then write case 1, which is for 1 shelf. Okay, and now go to model parameter and select the 36, which is the number for our pattern. Okay, or the number control how many shelves we want. Okay, for 1 shelf, if my height equals to 137.5, Okay, and then my shelf gap, okay, user parameter, shelf gap equals to negative 62.5. Okay, else if my height equals to quote unquote 187.5, then my shelf gap will be quote unquote negative 92.5. Okay, just simply copy this rule over here and paste. Okay, and adjust the value. This one to 137.5, and for the value it is 122.5. Okay, also don't forget and if. So this is for one shelf. Okay, next we are going to copy this over here, paste it, and change the case to number 2. For this one, change to number 2 also. And under shelf gap, we want to put shelf gap 2. Okay, equals to 40. Okay, copy this one, paste under shelf gap over here and also over here. Okay, now we just want to copy value over here, 40, and paste over here. Make sure you don't miss this negative symbol. Okay, for shelf gap number 2, it is 56.67. Copy and paste. For this one, it is 73.33. Okay, select, copy and paste. And now to end our rule, and width and select. Okay, if I click save and run, maybe there is some error over here. I just go ahead and paste the correct code. Okay, and change the order parameter. Okay, the code is simply the same as before. Maybe I have some typos. Okay, and then save and run. Now click on local update over here, and we should have the correct distance for our shelf gap. Okay, if I change the height over here, I can get the correct distance for my shelf. Oh, my inventor just crashed. Okay, it's okay. I have a backup folder. Now, if I change the value of height and the quantity, I should have the correct distance. Okay, now we want to add in the form editor. Okay, under iLogic tab, click on Forms and right click to add a new form. From here, you want to select the dimension that you want to adjust, which is length, width, and height. Okay, and then we also want to select shelf quantity. Okay, press Ctrl to press Ctrl and click to add to select multiple parameters. Just drag and drop into our form. Okay, I'm going to type in configurator. And then for the shelf name, I want to change the name to shelf quantity. Okay, so there are many settings that you can play around, but for me, I just want to change the selection or control type to radio group. Okay, so we can easily see what are the options that we can select. Okay, if you are satisfied with your settings, just simply click OK. Now click on your form and you can adjust your form from here. Okay, maybe I have some rules that I need to change over here. Okay, maybe there are some minor uh, errors in the coding, so that is all I can show you. Okay, we have covered for parametric modeling, iLogic, and also the form editor. Okay, so before we end our session for today, I'm going to quickly show you guys our ACAD system website. Okay, so here we have the KL and Penang numbers. Okay, we have our mission and vision statement. It is Autodesk promotion and news. And also over here, we have upcoming free online lesson. Okay, if you're interested in joining one of these lessons, you can simply click and scroll down until you see the Zoom link. Okay, we also have ACAD System Help Desk. Okay, from here you can create a new ticket as a guest if you have any issues or inquiries about Autodesk products. Okay, we also have our ACAD Systems YouTube channel, which have previous free online lessons. And also, if you want to learn specific Autodesk products such as Fusion 360, Inventor, we also have that. Okay, so that is all from me. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again later. Bye.